Okay, so I was just thinking about trees and how every tree started from a seed, okay? And that one little seed, or that one acorn, that one seed, then grew into a little tiny seedling, a little tiny mini plant. And then from that little mini plant, it grew and grew and grew. And then it became like all these trees, right? It's amazing that a little seed became a tree, and then many seeds became a forest, right? And I was thinking about how sometimes we really need time as a perspective, because you really don't think about that until that little tiny seed is a full-grown tree, So I took a little ride over the weekend, and I drove back to my neighborhood, one of the neighborhoods I grew up in. And it was out in the country, and I'm meandering down this road and that road to get to the little court that I used to live on. And bottom line, it had changed since then. And so there were two names of the same street name that were split off. And so I turned down the one that I thought was my street. And I'm like, this doesn't look familiar at all. And there's all these, larger houses, just not like what I grew up with. I'm like, that's strange. So I went back out to the other main road, and I'm like, maybe if I go a little further. And then there was the same street name number one, right? And so I got down to the end of the court, and there was this house, and my parents had a seedling of an idea. And at this time in our life, my parents had designed blueprints for their own custom-built house. And this was the house that my parents had designed and built. And when I got down to the, I was approaching the house, and it was at the bottom of the court. It was so beautiful. They had all these trees just everywhere. And I started to remember, me, my dad, and my brother had planted all these little seedlings. And they were just all these huge trees. And it just looked magnificent. But it took 30 years to get to that point. It wasn't overnight. God wants us to lean on Him during the growing process. And it takes time. And just seeing that reminded me that, again, we are so impatient, as humans. We're impatient. And it's once I saw that, it just connected. How many of the things in my life are like a seed or seedling that I give up on it when it's that small, and I don't put any more attention or time into it because I'm like, oh, that doesn't work. And then instead of me, having the patience to endure it, I give up, or I set it to the side, or get distracted with something else. And it just, again, it shows me that God truly wants us to have a blessed life. He really wants us to enjoy nature. He wants us to see things grow. He wants us to grow. And if He can do that for trees, imagine how much He loves us. We're His prized possession. And if we could just get that concept that He just wants the best for us. And in terms of this whole sin thing, I'm just going to say this. We all are sinners, and we're all imperfect. And what you see coming out of me is a result of years of surrendering and continuing to let go and confess and say, I don't have this, God, help me. And through that, I get help. But it's not by me being, I got it all figured out and, I'm so amazing. No, God's amazing. God in me is amazing. Seriously, that's the solution. And when you adopt that same kind of understanding, then you too are going to have victory. So on this whole idea of seeds and seedlings, I just encourage you to water your plant, give it tender, loving care. Pay attention to the seeds and the seedlings and encourage them to grow. And in that same vein or venue, encourage yourself to grow. Give yourself the self-care that you need and really embrace the Sabbath. The Sabbath is 1 day a week, Friday sunset to Saturday sunset. It's a time of just resting and being with the Lord and letting Him heal you, letting Him show you who He is in His Word, and just being with Him, talking to Him, having a conversation. So just allow yourself to experience that. And I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Have a great day, everybody.